Disclaimer. So this is going to be just like a pilot episode. So I'm going to work on the pilot, the actual pilot of Futurama next. This is just like a test. I've had to make some edits, so it's coming out later than expected because of copyright shit. So, yeah. I hope you like it. If it does well, then I'm definitely going to do the whole series, but I'm definitely going to do the pilot next regardless. I'm going to try to do at least the first season, but I wanted to get this episode out now. And hopefully after I finish the first season, it will start to do better. So, this is your disclaimer for this series about that and why I'm doing this episode first. It's like my favorite episode, so that's why I'm doing it first. I definitely want to do it first because it's just, if this is the only episode I ever do, it's my favorite episode, so there. Yeah. The Philosophical Depth of Futurama, Season 4, Episode 8, Godfellas. Futurama, the animated sci-fi sitcom created by Simpsons and Disenchantment creator Matt Groening. A world where people travel through tubes, and you shrink down small to fight worms your co-worker got from a truck stop egg salad sandwich in the men's bathroom for a quarter. It spawned comic books and has, within the last 10 years, released a nice box set for about $120, I think, maybe cheaper. With a vast assortment of amazing characters. No, I'm serious. It has a lot of wonderful episodes, like the Star Trek episode with the entire original living cast at the time. But in this series, I've decided to start with Bender. So to start off, I'd like to start with his first, arguably second most important moment in Bender's life. But we will cover the first when I start with Fry and the Space Pilot 3000. If you know, you know. Moving on. Among its many episodes, Godfellas, which aired on February 2nd, 2003, stands out for its exploration of profound themes such as divinity, morality, and existentialism. This episode blends comedy with a deep philosophical inquiry, providing a rich narrative that reflects the series' unique approach to addressing complex issues. Godfellas follows Bender Bending Rodriguez, the series' morally ambiguous robot, who inadvertently becomes the god of a microscopic civilization. The episode opens with Fry and Leela on a routine mission that goes awry. Fry and Leela are attacked by space pirates. Yes, space pirates. What are space pirates, you ask?
You know, pirates, but in space!
The space pirates continue bombarding the Planet Express ship with cannons. Until finally a cannonball hits Bender's wall where he is resting from a hangover. In order to drown out the sound, he attaches ears so he can put in earplugs. I don't know.
Hey! Keep it down, you kids! I'm trying to take a nap!
While Fry and Leela are busy fighting off the pirates, Leela piloting and Fry on the turret, Bender decides to go try and get some peace and quiet in torpedo tube number 3. The battle rages on until Leela calls on Fry to fire torpedo number 3, but it's not torpedo number 3 at all. Bender starts by blasting through the space pirate ship, destroying it, while Fry and Leela quickly realize that Bender is going twice as fast as the ship could possibly ever go, because the ship fired the torpedo going full speed, so not even rubbing the engine with cheetah blood could help them now. Bender is doomed to drift through space forever. Not the American Southwest like Bender always dreamed. Bender realizes quickly that he can throw some of his loot he got from the pirate ship in order to stop his momentum. He throws all of the loot and then realizes all he's got left is a Rolex and a candelabra.
I'm going too fast! I've got to lose momentum! I'm gonna spend eternity alone with barely any swag. Ooh. Hey, universe! Check out the dude with the Rolex!
He then pulls a piano out of his chest compartment because of course he's 40% storage space, sets up the candelabra, and begins to play beautifully until he begins to fumble. He rage quits and begins to destroy the tiny piano until it is shredded with no hope to salvage. Bender is doomed to drift through space bored. While bored drifting through space, Bender decides to carve Da Vinci-esque carvings of a man and a woman on his chest plate, later pulling out to reveal a carving of a bending unit 3 times larger, towering over the puny humans. So in a million years, when Bender is found, they will all know what the score was.
There! Now when I'm found in a million years, people will know what the score was.
Bender starts getting bombarded with asteroids. He gets nervous because even if a pea-sized asteroid were to whiz through his skull, it could, hurt slightly. Bender continues to get bombarded with asteroids until an asteroid becomes lodged on his crotch, creating a habitable environment for a microscopic civilization. The microscopic beings, perceiving Bender as a divine entity, establish a complex society centered around their newfound deity. Bender initially revels in his newfound godhood, enjoying the worship and attention from the microscopic society. He immediately begins to demand money, and when they don't have it, he makes one commandment: God needs booze. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Fry, Leela, and the Professor are using the smelloscope to search the vast stars for Bender. But it seems to not be working, and the Professor blames it on a local stench interfering. As everyone angrily stares over at Dr. Zoidberg, he's just glad to get a little bit of attention. As Fry looks longingly out the window, Amy and Hermes show up with a boxy knockoff Bender named Friender, who then proceeds to disappoint Fry in an overly friendly, useless way.
Hello there, chum. I understand you miss your buddy. Have a pudding pop.
No, thanks. I don't...
Who wants to go to an amusement park?
Well, I guess that sounds okay.
Have a good time. Hey, I heard your friend Bender is back.
What? Really?
No, I just thought you would enjoy that for a moment.
We cut away from an angry, disappointed, and annoyed Fry, back to Bender drifting through space, chug-a-lugging on some micro-brew handcrafted by his followers to appease their mighty metal lord. It's so satisfying, he checks in on Malachi, his lead follower, and notices he's missing an arm and quizzically asks, "Wait, did you rip off your own arm as a joke?" Malachi replies, "Like most of your followers, I was maimed in the building of the great brewery. Others died from the pestilent fumes it sowed forth. And of course the liquor industry attracted organized crime." Bender is so moved by his followers that he drops a gigantic teardrop on top of the micro-civilization, causing an epic pandemic flash flood that begins killing all of the shrimpkins. Did I mention that they are canonically called shrimpkins? Moving on, Malachi's son gets caught up in the flood and is hanging on by a branch in a heavily flowing river of Bender's single tear. When Malachi gets on his knees and begins to pray to Bender to perform a miracle, as Bender can't just sit idly by as one of his most faithful followers pleads for his help, he decides to jump in and save Malachi's son from drowning. Now that all the surviving shrimpkins have seen the miracles that their mighty metal lord can accomplish, they all begin to pray for their own miracles. One town prays for wealth, so Bender pulls out a coin and flips it in the air. It lands on top of the villagers, killing them. The farmers pray for sunlight to grow their crops. Bender closes his eye shield to reflect the light off the nearest star in order to help grow the crops. But the star burns too bright off his shiny fog hat gray exterior and sets the crops ablaze. Thinking quickly on his feet, he rushes to blow away the fire before it gets out of hand, but blows too hard, shooting several shrimpkins off into the space. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Fry is looking longingly at pictures of Bender. He declares that he is just going to have to do something crazy. Cut to a church. They are no help. I don't know, this show is just ridiculous sometimes. Fry then seeks out the robot fortune teller, who isn't really psychic and just tries to bleed Fry for money uselessly. But the fortune teller knows of a small sect of monks, the Monks of Disbuba, who have built a telescope because they believe that God is hiding somewhere out in space, and they intend to find them. The fortune teller tells Fry she's sure they'll help him. Back in space, Bender is peacefully drifting when Malachi begins nagging Bender about the followers on Bender's ass, who don't have faith in Bender because their prayers have gone unanswered. You know, 'cause he can't hear them. They're on his ass. Malachi tells Bender that they talk of war against his crotch side. Malachi pleads with Bender to interject, but Bender refuses, as anything he has done thus far has only made matters worse. Bender tells him to solve his own problems. Cut to Fry and Leela getting equipment for the rough journey through the mountains. They pick up a donkey, and Leela starts trying to convince Fry that this is a wasted, useless waste of time mission, and that there's no reason, and Fry's stupid, and he's a big dumb idiot, and they're never gonna find Bender, it's hopeless. But Fry and Leela talk it over, and they pick up a Sherpa, and Leela says even though Fry is going on this stupid quest, that she'll be there for him 'cause she's his friend, and she loves him, and she misses Bender too. Cut back to Bender watching over his faithful followers. He looks over Malachi's family reading a Bible depicting Bender fighting a lion. Bender is pleased when all of a sudden a group of tiny B-52 bombers fly over the side from his ass, dropping tiny nuclear bombs, as they have tapped into Bender's nuclear stockpile. As Bender had told Malachi to do it himself, the shrimpkins on the front have also prepared for atomic war and began blasting nukes to Bender's backside. As the faithful are not worried, as they believe that Bender can protect them from their impending doom, all the bombs continue to fly and destroy all that was left, leaving Bender to float endlessly through space all alone once again. Cut back to the wreckage of what is left of the microverse growing on Bender from the asteroid that hit him earlier. He begins to look for any sign of life, double-checking the porno theater for any survivors. As he realizes nothing is left but ashes and rubble, he begins to contemplate the overwhelming role of playing God for real. Bender's experience as a deity force him to confront the consequences of his actions. His evolution is marked by a transformation from arrogance to a reluctant sense of responsibility. Bender's growth is portrayed through his interactions with the microscopic society and his eventual decision to address their suffering. This development adds depth to his character and highlights the episode's exploration of moral and existential themes. Bender's journey from a godlike figure to a more self-aware individual reflects the broader narrative arc of the episode. Separated from his friends and drifting through space, Bender becomes the central figure of a microscopic world within the asteroid lodged in his chest. This world, complete with its own complex society and religious structures, begins to worship Bender as a deity. Bender is thrilled by the attention and the opportunity to indulge his hedonistic desires. He takes advantage of the situation, reveling in his godlike status and the power it affords him. However, Bender's self-serving nature soon leads to significant issues within the microscopic society. Natural disasters and societal problems arise as a direct result of his indifference and neglect. The episode poignantly highlights the consequences of Bender's actions, forcing him to confront the ethical implications of his role as a deity. His journey reflects a deep internal conflict as he grapples with the responsibilities of his unattended divine status. Godfellas engages with philosophical questions in a manner that is both accessible and thought-provoking. The episode's exploration of divinity, existentialism, and mortality reflects broader societal debates about faith, power, and ethical responsibility. By addressing these themes through the lens of science fiction and comedy, the episode encourages viewers to reflect on their own beliefs and values. The satire of religious and moral institutions provides a critique of established ideologies and encourages viewers to question traditional notions of divinity and morality. The episode's blend of humor and philosophical inquiry offers a unique perspective on complex issues and contributes to its status as a memorable and significant piece of television. Okay, moving on. We return to Earth where Fry, Leela, and the Sherpa are approaching the monastery. They come up to a bridge and the Sherpa leaves the bridge. Turns out to be automatic. Because, you know, it's the future. Fry, Leela, and the donkey cross. Cut back to space, and Bender is crying, drifting through the galaxies. And then all of a sudden, Bender encounters a galaxy signaling in binary. Rusty on his binary, Bender tries to signal back by screaming, "Hey, do you speak English?" This video is long enough already, so I'm just going to roll the clip, as it is probably the beginning to an answer to one of the most asked questions in the history of philosophy and religion.
Hey, That galaxy's signaling in binary. I got a signal back, but I only know enough binary to ask where the bathroom is. You speak English?
I do now.
What are you, some kind of galactic computer?
Possible. I am user-friendly, my good chum.
Who built you?
I have always been.
Oh my God! Are you God?
Possible. I do feel compassion for all living things, my good chum.
But why would God think in binary? Unless you're not God, but the remains of a computerized space probe that collided with God.
That seems probable.
We then cut to the monastery, where Fry and Leela are pleading with the monks to let Fry look for Bender. The monks refuse, as they don't think that it is worth the time, as they are too busy searching for God.
Your order may be famous for your martial arts, but I've never met a holy man I couldn't clobber.
Actually, we only practice martial arts as a form of meditation. We are a strictly non-violent sect.
As the monks are a strictly non-violent sect, they refuse to fight Leela. So Leela and Fry decide it's a good idea to throw them in the closet.
Oh, then get in the laundry room or I'll kick your butts.
Oh, this is the worst crazy sect I've ever been in.
Cut back to Bender and God continuing their conversation.
So, do you know what I'm gonna do before I do it?
Yes.
What if I do something different?
Then I don't know that.
Cool. I bet a lot of people pray to you, huh?
Yes, but there are so many asking so much. After a while, you just sort of tune it out.
This episode engages deeply with existential themes, particularly through Bender's struggle with the burden of responsibility. Bender's initial reluctance to fulfill his role as a deity reflects existential concerns about the meaning of life and personal responsibility. The microcosmic society's reliance on Bender forces him to confront the ethical implications of his actions and the weight of his roles.
You know, I was God once.
Yes, I saw. You were doing well until everyone died.
It was awful. I tried helping them, I tried not helping them, but in the end, I couldn't do them any good. Do you think what I did was wrong?
Right and wrong are just words. What matters is what you do.
Bender's journey highlights the existential tension between personal desires and moral obligations. His eventual decisions to act on behalf of his followers signifies a moment of existential realization and growth. The episode explores the idea that individuals must investigate the complexities of moral responsibility in a world where clear answers are often elusive.
Yeah, I know. That's why I asked if what I did... Oh, forget it.
Bender, being God isn't easy. If you do too much, people get dependent on you. And if you do nothing, they lose hope. You have to use a light touch, like a safecracker or a pickpocket.
Or a guy who burns down a bar for the insurance money.
Yes, if you make it look like an electrical thing. When you do things right, people won't be sure you've done anything at all.
Godfellas delves into the nature of morality through Bender's actions and their consequences. The episode critiques moral nihilism by illustrating the impact of Bender's ethical shortcomings on the microscopic society. Bender's indifference to their suffering serves as a commentary on the subjective nature of moral values and the challenges of ethical decision-making.
Does that mean you wouldn't send me back to Earth, even if I prayed to you?
Earth? Which way is that?
I don't know.
Cut back to Fry looking for Bender. It's been 3 days, so Leela convinces him to give up. But
I know he was evil, and on more than one occasion he actually stole my blood. But still, I wish I had Bender back.
God immediately hears Fry, wakes Bender up, grabs Bender, straps a parachute on him, and sends him back to Earth, right in the exact spot where Fry and Leela were waiting for him and searching. Being so hot, Bender burns up in the atmosphere, but he still manages to stay together. Fry can't believe he sees him when the ice starts melting, and he immediately rushes over to give Bender a hug. Realizing he's an idiot and he just burnt himself, Leela chimes in with a real quick,
This is by a wide margin the least likely thing that has ever happened.
Bender immediately gets ready to tell Fry and Leela about his adventure.
Guys, you never believe what happened. First, I was God, then I met God.
We climbed a mountain and locked up some monks.
Oh no, the monks! We forgot to let them out of the laundry room.
Ah, do we have to? I mean, they're monks. I'm sure their God will let them out, or at least give them more shoes to eat.
Fat chance. You can't count on God for jack. He pretty much told me so himself. Now come on. If we don't save those monks, no one will.
The resolution of the episode in which Bender takes moral responsibility for his actions underscores the importance of moral growth and the need for individuals to consider the consequences of their behavior. Bender's character arc reflects a shift from moral nihilism to a more nuanced understanding of ethical responsibility.
When you do things right, people won't be sure you've done anything at all.
Best episode ever. So this episode of Futurama literally changed my life and how I look at the world of philosophy and religion. I'm not kidding, folks. I literally believe that this is the only media in the entire history of the entire world that accurately depicts what I truly, in my heart and soul, absolutely 100% positively believe is the scientific definition of what God is and actually lives out there in the universe. Seriously. But I digress. Godfellas has been widely praised by critics and fans for its ambitious storytelling and philosophical depth. The episode is often cited as one of the standout installments of Futurama, demonstrating the show's ability to blend humor with intellectual engagement. Its reception reflects the broader appreciation for Futurama's innovative approach to storytelling and its exploration of complex themes. The episode's impact is also evident in discussions amongst fans and scholars who appreciate its satirical critique of religion and morality. Godfellas is recognized as a prime example of the series' ability to address profound topics through the medium of animation and comedy. So, in conclusion, Godfellas is a standout episode of Futurama that combines humor with deep philosophical exploration, though its examination of divinity, existentialism, and immortality. The episode offers a rich narrative experience that challenges viewers to think critically about fundamental questions of existence. Bender's character development and the episode's thematic depth contribute to its status as a significant contribution to the series. As Futurama continues to be celebrated for its innovative storytelling and intellectual engagement, Godfellas remains a testament to the show's ability to address complex issues in an entertaining and thought-provoking manner. And it is probably my number one episode, so yeah, it's one of the greatest episodes of all time. And with all that being said, for the greatest episode ever made of Futurama, there's probably only one thing I can leave you with.
When you do things right, people won't be sure you've done anything at all.
30th Century Fox.